Okay, we'll go ahead and start our committee meeting of Federal State Affairs Thursday. First thing on the agenda is bill introductions. Senator Thompson, I believe you have a bill introduction. We'll let you do it and get out of here.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I've got to run to my committee as well. This is Senate Bill RS 2650, and it relates to discontinuing property tax exemption for certain renewable energy facilities. And I can explain more if you need.
Are there any questions? Not seeing any. The bill's introduced.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Are there any further bill introductions? Go ahead. Just tell us your name and what the bill does and the RS number.
Good morning. My name is Eric Weisner. I'm the Executive Director of the Kansas Real Estate Commission. On behalf of the Real Estate Commission, introducing a bill, RS 2524, dealing with the unlicensed practice of real estate.
Okay, are there any questions? Not seeing any. The bill's introduced. Just make sure you get with Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Bob Corkins, Frontier Peace, request that you introduced RS 2662. This is known as the Defend the Guard issue. And in a nutshell, it would prevent our National Guard members from being deployed to active combat overseas unless Congress has formally declared war. And it would also provide Guard members a guarantee allowing them to decline the COVID vaccine without any threat of disciplinary action.
Questions? Not seeing any. The bill's introduced. Just make sure you get with Michael. I've got a couple. The first one is RS 2559. It's a tax credit bill dealing with the LIHTC tax credits. Are there any questions? Not seeing any. The bill's introduced. Let me see. I also got another one. It's RS 2749. It's dealing with a 10-year-old student who was deaf, but now can hear a little bit. It's School of the Deaf. It's an education bill. Are there any questions? Not seeing any. The bill's introduced. Let me see. I think I got, Representative Esau, you want to go ahead and state your bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair Ranking. Appreciate you being patient. I have a bill that the RS number is 22 RS 2671. It'll be familiar to some of you. Requires advanced voting ballots be returned by 7 p.m. on the day of the election, and provides the deadline can't be altered by an elected or appointed official or court.
Are there questions on the bill? Not seeing any. It's introduced. Just make sure Michael has the info.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any further bill introductions? Senator Fascal-Doe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have a bill introduction for Appleseed, and that number is RS 2556, and it's an act concerning traffic regulations.
Are there questions? Not seeing any. The bill's introduced. Are there any further bill introductions by the committee? Not seeing any. Okay, we'll move on to our normal agenda. Hearing on House Bill 2005. Jason, you want to give us an overview?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 2005 came over last session from the House, where I believe it went through the Committee on Water over in that chamber. The bill, you do have a memo in your packet on House Bill 2005. It deals with the Boiler Safety Act and one amendment to that act. This is the act where the State Fire Marshal oversees the inspection, installation, and repairs of boilers and other pressure vessels. And so This particular amendment deals with what are known as water heaters and whether or not they are subject to the act. Under the language, you can see on page 1 of the bill, down lines 28 and 29, there is an exclusion from the act for nominal water capacity of a water heater of, under current law, it's 85 gallons. This would expand that up to 120 gallons. So anything with less than 120 gallon capacity would no longer be covered by the Boiler Inspection Act. It's basically just reducing the number of water heaters that are subject to the inspection and regulation of the state fire marshal under this act. The bill would go into effect on publication in the Kansas Register, which is earlier than the typical July 1st date. And I will point out, since this came over and was introduced last session, there is a technical cleanup on some of the statutory references in the bill. So if the committee wishes to advance the bill, I would just ask that it approve a technical amendment by the revisor's office.
Questions of Jason? Not seeing any? Okay, we'll go ahead and start the hearing. We'll open the hearing on 2005. First proponent, Ron Highland. Representative Ron Highland.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Thank you for allowing me to come over on this bill. For us, it's a simple bill, but it affects a lot of hotels and motels across our state. And it was brought to me by one of my local hotels. And because they have hot water heaters of 95 gallons, the state was requiring them to redo all the electrical and redesigning the rooms where these water heaters were. And it's a simple fix. And so it just changes from 85 to 120 gallons, and they're not producing electricity, they're just producing hot water. And two of the members of my water committee where this was heard also have motels, and they said, yes, this is a problem. So it's all over the state. Small change, but it needs to be done for the benefit of all the people. I stand for questions.
Sounds like it'll keep the hot water flowing at the hotels and motels.
Yes.
Questions? Senator Fasco-Doe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Representative. So currently the number is what?
85 gallons.
And we want to take it to?
120. And most all of them are at the 95 gallon right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, further questions? Senator Reichman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you for bringing this bill. I guess my question is besides motels and hotels, will this affecting the other groups that you know that have under the 150 limit that you know is going to affect it?
I'm not sure. It might affect schools too if they have some hot water heaters. I cannot answer that question. I do not know. Maybe the fire marshal can answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is it more just hot water tanks, though? It's not like boilers or?
Boilers produce steam. All they do is produce hot water.
Okay. Further question, Senator Cluse.
Just curious, is there, at the change of gallons, is there like commercial and residential hot water tanks or not?
I don't know whether there's a distinction with commercial and residential hot water tanks, just the size. I think that.
I mean, there are some different items out there that, you know, they're more of a commercial because they're used at a higher rate versus a residential. I was just curious.
Sure. I'm sure.
I'd have to ask the revisor, but I think all they talk about is just the size
Okay.
in the law.
Mr. Chairman, I will defer to the state fire marshal if he has anything to add to this, but the law only refers to the volume of the water capacity and not to its use as to commercial or residential. Okay.
Other questions or comments? Senator Fasco-Doe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what was the original reason that the state told these hotels that they needed to change, or what's the main purpose of the change?
They were basing it on federal and state regulations, which we couldn't come to an agreement on, and so we had to go through this process.
So if they had an 85-gallon hot water tank instead of a 95, they got to have the state come and inspect it.
It would have been okay at 85.
It was 85, they were fine? Yeah,
Yes.
or an 80? Okay. Are there any further questions or comments? Not seeing any? Thank you.
Thank you. One last comment. It passed the House 125-0. Thank you.
Sounds like it was highly controversial. No. Okay, do we have any further proponents? Not seeing any, we'll move to the neutrals. State Fire Marshal Doug Jorgensen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Committee, Doug Jorgensen, State Fire Marshal for the state of Kansas. We have no issue with this bill. We worked with the representative when it was on the House side. I've actually reached out to insurance companies that also do inspections as part of their policies, and the insurance companies are fine with increasing the limit on hot water heaters to the 120 gallons. The only thing it will do for our agency, it'll decrease the number of inspections that we do by around 600 a year. These units are only inspected every 3 years. They're on a 3-year cycle. So if you break that down annually, it's about 600 units a year, and it'll reduce the revenue to the boiler fee fund by approximately $80,000 a year, but we're able to absorb that. And with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay. Questions or comments? Senator Reichman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for testifying. I'm just curious, what you said was all positive, and so I was wondering why you're neutral. Why wouldn't you be a proponent of this legislation?
From my perspective, it's not my position as the state fire marshal to oppose, or at least as much as we can, to oppose or be a proponent of legislation that deals with our office and safety rules and regulations. This one particular makes sense, and it's not a big safety issue. So we're just giving information to the committee on how it affects our office and what things look going forward.
It's not uncommon for an agency to be neutral when, similar to this, on a bill that, even though I won't say they support, but,
Okay, well, thank you. I think I will. All right, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Not seeing any.
Thank
Get
you.
off the hook easy, Doug.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any opponents? Okay, we'll close the hearing on 2005. And we'll probably work this next week, okay? And one other bill we're going to look at working, I'll probably want to get a little background, that was heard last year was Senate Bill 34. Maybe next week you can give an overview, and I think it's Senator Hildebrand's bill, but I believe he's probably got an amendment. So sometime next week when we meet, we got a little extra time, give us a background, and you can give us a background on your amendment, and then let it set for a day, and then we'll work it that way. That's one I want to get cleaned up off the agenda. Also, we've got the minutes. I want to get if we can, a motion to approve the minutes for 111, 112, and 113. They were passed out, I believe, late last week, and everybody's been able to look at them. I think it was sent to them. And so if you got any questions on them, let's deal with it now or approve the minutes. Okay?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Senator Hildebrand and makes the motion, Senator Longbine seconds. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, nay? They pass. You also have a report from the Kansas Board of Emergency Medical Services, the annual report. I'll let you review that, and you know, if you got any questions, you know, we can move forward on that. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next thing. Jason, do you have a report on the, let's see, what is it? The 2021 enactment change of election law? Okay. No. What is that, Michael? We've already did that, yeah. And the permanent, okay, yeah, you added something there. I don't know what that is. Also, one other thing, you know, 158, the medical marijuana bill. Anybody that wants to look at maybe putting another bill or talk about it, let's, why don't you leave a message with Michael, and then we can discuss if we want to put another bill together or whatever they want to do, try to get everybody located together. So might want to do that today and then start working on it in the next few days. So, okay, with that, I don't see any other business. We are adjourned. Thank you.